Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the first day of March 2023, Wednesday of the first week of Lent, the fourth day of Lent. Coming to you from the newly designed, or the continuing to be designed, St. Francis Prayer Garden here right by the entrance to the church over there, and then preschool is over here. After a wonderful birthday celebration, I'm so grateful to the Franciscan School for everything they did to make my birthday very spectacular. It is, now we get on with the rest. Well, actually, we celebrate my birthday for a month, so until the 28th of March, it is still my birthday. So anyway, but on this Wednesday of the first week of Lent, we encounter Jonah, and again, it is. We have to be careful as we look at these stories, because again, Jonah is asked by God to go to the great city of Nineveh, which was the capital of the Assyrian Empire, and to be able to tell Nineveh it's going to be destroyed because of all of its iniquities and sins and its terrible life and whatever it is. And Jonah refuses to go, and because he's afraid of the city and afraid of doing that. And then God, he tries to get on a boat, go away, storm comes, whale eats him, and then Jonah has change of heart, change of mind, and he goes finally to Nineveh and says, if you don't change your act, God's going to destroy you. And Nineveh changes his act, and God doesn't destroy. Again, a God who's destroying to begin with, again, it's not the God of the gospel. And that's kind of important, to realize that it isn't a God who is bent on getting rid of us, or bent on punishing, or bent on kind of exacting some kind of return because of all the mistakes that we make. Again, the important thing is always to remember we are created to be as people to make mistakes. If God wanted perfection, God would have created perfection. This is what we fail to realize. We are not creations of some other force that is bent on evil and trying to destroy God's creation and God's work, because God is the one who's in charge of everything, and God created it good, and it never stopped being good. So there has to be something that we need to take a look at again, at why it is that we make mistakes and what it is that our failures can lead us to, which is not punishment and destruction always. And so again, Nineveh changes its course of action and becomes a better city because it listens to what Jonah has to say, which is kind of a threat, yes, but it is also the sense in which hopefully that change of the heart of Assyria, of Nineveh, remains. Now, again, it didn't work well because Assyria is, again, it's the empire that tries to take over the northern kingdom of Israel when the kingdom becomes divided after the death of King David, and that becomes a very long history lesson. So Assyria was not always looked upon as a great place because it destroyed part of the promised land and the lives of the Hebrew people. So the fact that there can be repentance there among this evil people who destroyed part of the life of Israel, again, shows a God who is willing to allow for a transformation and allow for a change of heart, which is a wonderful thing that God is always able to do, and that God always wants to do, but we kind of forget that sometimes, and we have difficulty believing it. So that's why this story of Jonah is there in one way, is to help us remember and help us believe that ours is a God who is always ready and willing to allow for transformation of mind and heart. We have to continue to believe that ourselves so that transformation may happen. This reading is paired again with Matthew's gospel. I think I'm not getting this gospel right. I think it's Matthew's gospel, in which the people again are looking for a sign. Are you the Messiah? Are you not? Show us a sign. Show us a sign. Show us a sign. All they want are supernatural effects. All they want is something that's going to tell them definitively that this is the Messiah, that this is the one that God has promised would come to Israel to save Israel. And it isn't as clear as that, because God doesn't work with that kind of clarity. God doesn't work with that kind of proof texting and things like that, because if all we are looking for are proofs, we're always going to be disappointed in one way, because proofs can only last for so long or can only do so much. It has to come from something more. And again, the believing when everything else tells you not to believe, and the holding out when everything else tells you not to hold out and to give up. And that's really, again, what Lent is trying to convince us to remember again. The sign that Jesus says, the sign of Jonah again, and that is the sign should be a sign enough for them, that God allows for transformation, God allows for beginning again, God allows for healing, God allows for peace, God allows for help. Remembering that is the kind of God that we are in a relationship with. That is the kind of God who created us and this wonderful, glorious world. That is something we need to remember in this season of Lent, that allows us to be refreshed and renewed in not only our commitment to continue to believe, but to allow that belief to bear fruit in our lives and in this world. And may the Lord give you his peace.